monk life is ultimately training in self-actualization and self-awareness. It's meant to start when you're 5. The problem is we all went to normal schools that try to put stuff in us rather than take stuff out of us.
It's crazy.
You talk about this,
right?
Like, you know, you were told at school that you weren't very good and you weren't good at English, and now you have a New York Times bestseller, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, but no one noticed that potential inside you. No one noticed that, oh, Lewis was really creative.
Right.
And you're not the only person. There's so many people who feel like that. So the modern schooling system didn't extrapolate your self-actualization, your element, and just try to put maths, English, science inside. So the point is that you're trying to get to such a strong foundation that when you interact in the world, you're going with a sense of strength, fuel, energy to make a difference, rather than going into the world and then going, oh my God, where am I, trying to figure it out. And I find what happens today is that when you don't, we all know this, self-love's become such a big thing now. And when people don't figure out, it's like a huge trend now. But my point is that if you don't start at a place where you have self-awareness, self-actualization, you have figured out what works for you, what your strengths are, how you want to be in an environment, when you walk out there, most of us just pretend to be someone else. Most of us get lost. Most of us get carried away. So my point is, strengthen yourself, grow yourself, and then of course interact with the world. So we had that. And that's what I noticed when I lived as a monk, that people were so far removed from their own understanding of themselves that they were either lost living a life they didn't want to, lost living up to someone else's expectations, or lost becoming someone to impress someone else. And so people were their real identity is almost buried under 6 feet of multiple identities they've created. And that's what I started to notice. We have a social media identity, we have a LinkedIn identity, we have a Twitter identity, we have a Facebook identity. Then we have an identity we are to our boss. Then we have an identity we are with our Friday night friends. Then we have an identity we are to our Sunday people. And we just created all of these identities. And if you ask people, who are you? We struggle to answer that question. And so as a monk, you're just taught to dig deeper beyond all those identities and kind of, again, bring out yourself rather than define yourself. So that was what I noticed. I just started to notice that people had a big lack of self-actualization. They were very disconnected from what they wanted, needed, and understood about themselves. And most people's identities were crafted by the reflection in this mirror of their mum, dad, friends, boss, partner, whatever.